After the Civil War, the American West was a land of promise and peril, where legends like Jesse James were born. His name echoed from Missouri's hills to Texas's plains, a phantom who could appear and vanish at will. Jesse James, the man, was forged by his time. The legend became a ghost haunting America's imagination. Even after his death, Jesse James became the restless spirit of the frontier. To understand Jesse James, we must look to the Civil War that tore Missouri apart. As a teenager, Jesse was swept into guerrilla warfare, neighbor against neighbor, violence without rules. He and his brother Frank rode with infamous leaders, learning to fight, survive, and live outside the law. The war ended, but for the James brothers, peace never came. Marked by their past, they turned to crime. Bank and train robberies executed with military precision. The James Younger gang became notorious, their exploits sensationalized by newspapers and dime novels. Jesse was cast as an avenger of the defeated South, striking at northern banks and railroads. For many, he became a folk hero, a symbol of resistance in a time of upheaval. The real Jesse James was dangerous and ruthless, but the legend grew, fueled by a public hungry for stories of defiance. The line between outlaw and hero faded. Jesse James became a powerful symbol for a broken era. His myth was born from violence, but it offered hope to those left behind. The outlaw became a legend, larger than life. The outlaw's life was always destined to end violently. In 1882, Jesse James was shot in the back by Robert Ford, a member of his own gang seeking reward and fame. The news electrified the nation. Jesse James, the elusive outlaw, was dead at 34. His body was displayed to the public, photographs sold as souvenirs. For authorities, it was closure. For the public, it was the end of an era. But legends don't die so easily. Almost immediately, rumors spread. The man killed was an impostor. Jesse had escaped. The myth of his survival was born the moment he died. These stories reflected a deep distrust of authority and a longing for rebellion. People wanted to believe Jesse had outsmarted everyone one last time. The idea that his spirit lived on was comforting, a symbol that defiance could not be killed by a bullet. The man was buried in Missouri, but his legend was now unbound. Jesse James became a ghost, riding forever in American folklore. The myth grew stronger with each retelling. The legend was now unstoppable. Decades later, the legend took a new turn in Granbury, Texas. In 1948, an old man named J. Frank Dalton claimed he was the real Jesse James. He was over 100 years old, with scars and stories matching the outlaw's life. Dalton's detailed accounts and physical evidence convinced many locals. Reporters flocked to Granbury, and the town was captivated. Dalton became a celebrity, a living link to the Wild West. Supporters pointed to his knowledge and wounds as proof. Skeptics argued he was either a clever impostor or a confused old man. The debate reignited the mystery. Could Jesse James have survived and lived in secret? Granbury became the center of a historical controversy. The stage was set for a new chapter in the legend. The town's identity became entwined with Dalton's claim. The myth was alive once more. Granbury embraced Dalton and the legend he brought. When Dalton died in 1951, the town gave him a hero's funeral. His tombstone read, "Jesse Woodson James, supposedly killed in 1882. That word, supposedly, kept the mystery alive, drawing tourists and fueling local pride. Granbury's identity became tied to the Jesse James myth. Museums, tours, and stories flourished, making the legend part of daily life. Supporters collected affidavits, published books, and challenged the official story. For many, the truth mattered less than the excitement and meaning the legend brought. The town's folklore became a cherished heritage. The debate over Dalton's identity persisted for decades. Granbury's legend connected it to a grand American drama. Whether Dalton was truly Jesse James became secondary to the power of the story. The town had its ghost, and it wasn't letting go. For over a century, the question of Jesse James's fate was debated, until science entered the scene. In 1995, researchers exhumed the Missouri grave, officially marked as Jesse James's. DNA from the remains was compared to living relatives of his mother Zerelda. The results were clear, a perfect match. The man killed in 1882 was, by scientific certainty, Jesse James. The exhumation was a media event watched by historians and the public alike. Forensic science had provided the answer that stories and speculation never could. The legend faced its greatest challenge, not from guns, but from genetics. The truth was now written in DNA. The official account was finally confirmed, but the myth was not so easily buried. The DNA results from Missouri struck a blow to the survival myth, but Granbury's believers pressed on. In 2000, Dalton's grave in Texas was exhumed for DNA testing. The first grave held the wrong remains. The correct one was found nearby, but the DNA did not match the James family. Science was conclusive. Dalton was not Jesse James. The man in Missouri was the real outlaw, the man in Texas was not. The forensic evidence dismantled the central claim of the Granbury legend. Dalton was either an impostor or a man lost in fantasy. The ghost that haunted Granbury was finally exposed by science. The legend, built on hope and mystery, could not withstand the facts. The verdict from the grave was final. The story had reached its end, at least in the world of evidence. But legends rarely die with the facts. Science proved Jesse James died in 1882, and Dalton was not him. Yet the myth persists. People still visit Granbury's grave, still question the DNA. Myths are not just about facts, they're about what we need to believe. The legend of Jesse James's survival thrived in a world where people could disappear and reinvent themselves. The frontier was a place of second chances and hidden lives. These stories are woven into America's identity, reflecting a love of rebellion and individualism. The outlaw who defied the system remains a powerful symbol. The myth lets us explore freedom, justice, and the tension between chaos and order. The story of Jesse James teaches us about the power and danger of myth. The truth, Jesse James was a violent criminal who died young. The myth, he was a romantic hero who cheated death. Holding both in mind helps us understand the past more fully. We see not just what happened, but what people needed to believe, and that belief, even now, is as enduring as the legend itself.